In the course of your travels, have you met any of your inspirations or idols?
Yeah, I've kind of been. I've stood very close to Jonathan Richman, who I went to see him at a concert, and he came to watch the person who was on after him, and he was sort of stood right next to me, and I was so shell shocked because his music meant everything to me as a teenager, and I just couldn't say a word to him. And I was similar when I went to see Loudon Wainwright. I took a CD for him to sign, and just turned into like a giggly kid as soon as couldn't think of anything good to say.
Well, there is the old adage that you should never meet your heroes.
Yeah, definitely. It's yeah. I think the first thing everyone always says is they're so small in real life, as if because they're a hero they should be like gigantic, like Hagrid or something. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I've thought. I walked past Tony Hart in the street once. Right. There's a claim to fame. Nice one. Yeah. I almost saw Timmy Mallet, but just missed him by a couple of minutes. These are big.
That is something I wouldn't.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've spent any significant time with any celebrities, apart from local celebrities like good old Jonathan Tarpley, that's been on this show, no doubt, a few times.
And he will be appearing on that same day.
Excellent. I always try and give him a plug every time I come in. And yeah, I was lucky as well that there was a music festival that I did the sound for a couple of gigs. Right. And there were some really good people on there that I got to see and everything. So that was nice as well.
Is there a chance that the music might become your full-time career? Or is that just a dream?
I don't think there's any money in it. I mean, this is one of the things I think people who aren't musicians don't get, is that you always spend more money than you make in music, unless you're signed and you're, the next hot property.
This is something I've said to many people.
Yeah, I mean, you're a musician, you know what it's like.
Well, ex-musician. People see you up on stage and they see all the glamour and the lights and everything. They don't see you travelling to the gigs, setting up, pulling all the gear down.
I wrote a song about that, which I've totally forgotten, unfortunately, called "Oh the Glamour." Yeah. And it's all about all the stuff that the audience doesn't see, like getting changed on your shoes because there's and racing to get to a sound check and nobody else is there to meet you. And but for that 20 minutes or that 30 minutes that you play, it's worth it. Yeah. And the amount of times I've gone to a gig thinking, I'm sick of this, I'm not doing it anymore, and then I play a gig, I come off and I'm like, yeah, I want to do it again. You
cannot beat that adrenaline.
It's the buzz, yeah. But all that sort of nervous energy that goes into it, it's.
Well, I mean, there's been times where we've been going up to a gig, say up in Carlisle, and I'm one of these. I like to get there in plenty of time. Yeah. Even if I'm sat there twiddling my thumbs, I don't want to be stuck on the motorway thinking, we've got to be there in 20 minutes. Yeah. One of the problems we had whilst you were recording the songs earlier is you brought your guitar in from a cold environment into a warm environment, and that constant tuning. So, I mean, you must get that at festivals all the time.
All the time, yeah. That is one downside of playing festivals outside or whatever. It goes out of tune every 2 minutes. But, that's where I can pull on my the punk ethos of, it was meant to be like that.
We played the gig on the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
And in a hotel, and we just about started about 5-10 minutes into the set, and someone came running in, evacuate, and once we stopped playing you could hear the fire alarms going off.
Oh really?
So we had to evacuate the whole building. All the fire doors were flung open, so from a nice warm room it suddenly went very, very cold, and everything went out of tune. All the guitars, even the drum kit, I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I didn't even know, this is how naive I was, I didn't even know you could tune a drum kit, but apparently you can.
Well, I mean, the hazards of performing live. People don't realise this.
Yeah.
So, what's in the pipeline for you apart from the Dance with Jazz Blues?
I'm kind of working on an album at the moment, which I'm trying to produce myself. So I'm kind of trying to teach myself production at the minute. And
in a home studio.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, kind of. It's just. I mean, I say home studio. It's just a microphone and a computer, really, and a mixing desk.
Well, that's the way nowadays.
But that's the way forward. Yeah, a lot of people do record albums like that now.
And in a way, it sort of taps into that punk ethos.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of trying to learn how to use Pro Tools at the minute, which I won't bore people with, but it's an ongoing struggle. So if I do get this album done, it'll be worth it for me anyway.
As a teacher, you should know life is a learning process.
Exactly. This is it.
So, I mean, there's no dateline for this album. It's just, it will happen at some point.
Yeah, I'd like to get it out this year, definitely. I've been working on it since sort of last summer, sort of piecing it together bit by bit. And
all original material.
Yeah, all original material. And I'm trying to go back to, because my last album that I brought out was very acoustic and lots of strings and things like that. This one, I'm trying to go back to more of what it used to sound like when I used to play with my mates as a teenager in someone's garage, you know. So it's much more stripped back, and ironically, it'll sound the simplest, but it's probably the hardest one I've made technically. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I've got a mate who's a drummer who played all the drums on it, and we went to a big hall in like Bickley, which is like in the middle of nowhere. It's about 10 miles away, and it's got this great kind of big sound, which I like to sort of. I wanted to get like a big Phil Spector kind of raw sound noise, but we'll see how it turns out.
So with the songwriting process, do you have a system, or did it just come to you?
I used to do it very, sit down and write a song in 5 minutes. I find that as I'm getting older, that's more difficult to do. So what I tend to do is I'll get little bits of ideas, and I'll write them on the notes on my phone. I've got loads of random notes on my phone with I'd be lost if I ever lost it. And then I'll just piece it together like a jigsaw, really, and come up with a riff that fits it. Usually I'll come up with a riff first and then sing over the top. And then it just builds up over time. So it's a very slow process, unfortunately.
There's the story of David Bowie.
Yeah.
He used to cut words out in newspapers.
He did, yeah. At the time of sort of, you're getting me onto a subject I know a little bit about now. That was around the sort of Diamond Dogs era. Where, he did, didn't it? It's a William Burroughs idea, isn't it? I think he used he used to do poems in the same way.
Right.
Sort of writing down loads of random things and then just cutting them all up and rearranging them, making something out of it. Yeah.
So you got the album sometime this year.
Yeah.
Festival gigs lined up.
Yep. Fingers crossed. I've got this one. I've got Sandbach Transport Festival coming up in April, and that's a good fun one. What else have I got? Got a few different things going on. I should have brought a list with me.
Have you got a website?
I have got a website. Seamless. That was very good. No, if you go on like Facebook, it's Tim Lee Songwriter. Just put that in the search box. And if you go on, if you're on Twitter, it's Tim Lee Songs, and they should take you to samples of my music and things like that.
Right.
Or just come to a gig and come and say hello.
So when you are in Nantwich at the Jazz, Blues and Music Festival, you'll have CDs for sale?
Yeah. I've just brought a live CD out.
I have a copy
which
here.
You have a copy there.
Don't be apologetic.
Don't be apologetic, yeah. It's based on, the guy that put the gig on is just a brilliant guy that I met at uni, who fairly old sort of hippie type guy,
right? Really
into folk music and knows 100 times more than I do about music. And I badgered him for long enough that he put me on at one of his gigs at Wigan Parish Church, like big, beautiful venue. And
nice suit, by the way.
Thank you. And one of the things he's always said to me was, don't be apologetic, because I'm quite a shy sort of guy most of the time. And when you get up on stage, what I used to do was almost apologise for being there. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll be off in a minute, just, listen to this next one, then I'll be gone, Yeah. And he was saying, when you're on stage, that is your stage.
Yeah.
Own it. Don't be apologetic for being there. So
it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Be confident, but don't be cocky.
Yeah. I mean, when I first got into music, it was around the time of sort of Oasis and things like that. That kind of overconfidence, and they were kind of bully boys, the sort of people I got into music to get away from at school. I was kind of a bit of an outcast, as a lot of songwriters are, and I kind of wanted to be everything but that kind of Oasis, We're Dead Hard We Are, and So, what's the question again?
Being confident without being cocky.
Confident without being cocky. Yeah. So it's about. I think the thing with me, I thought it's getting to love your own songs. And once you get to love your own songs, you can get over your confidence issues because you're not doing it for you then. You're doing it to get the songs across. So that's a bit, rather than, look at me, I'm the big I am, it's look at these songs, they mean a lot to me, they might mean a lot to you. So,
In a similar way, when I do this show, it's not about me, it's about the music. Listen to that. I make numerous mistakes throughout the course of a show. But people aren't listening for that, they're listening for the music. So,
exactly.
Anyway, thank you for doing this, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers.
Hopefully the weather will pick up.
Yeah, fingers crossed. No, cheers for having me on, Kev. That's been great.
It's been an absolute joy and a pleasure, and like I say, check out the website, check out Facebook, and come along on Easter Sunday.
Great. Thanks a lot.
No problems.